Hey, everybody. Hey. This is Audrina.
Hey, it's Angela.
Um, Today, hope everybody had a great day. Today, we're going to talk about fear, and looking at it in both perspectives. How you doing today, girl?
I'm here.
You're here?
I'm
Yeah,
here. How about you?
I'm here too. It's been one of those days.
The rain.
The rain and the quote unquote snow, it keeps starting and stopping, which is frustrating. Like, if you're going to snow.
It's like it was some on the ground now. It's washed away with the rain.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's cold. It's like
it is cold.
The other day
it's
was in
freeze,
the
so
six. I don't know. This weather is something else, but you can't base your emotions on this weather because I'm telling you, you're gonna be all over the place.
Definitely not.
All right. So we want to talk a little bit about fear and coming from both perspectives. Okay, so I looked up the word fear, just to give you a little what you call it. Fear is an emotional response to perceived threats or danger, often characterized by feelings of anxiety, apprehension, or dread. It can arise from real or imagined situations and can manifest in various ways, influencing thoughts, behaviors, and physical response. In a broader spiritual context, fear can also refer to a lack of trust. I like that. Or confidence in God's protection and provision. Oh, that is beautiful right there. And so 2 Timothy 1:7 declares, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of sound mind." And then you always hear the same scripture that fear, love, covers a multitude of sins, right? So it's like, okay, this thing called fear, we always saying, "Oh, girl, I'm so fearful of doing this. I'm so fearful of doing that." But in actuality, when we confess that fear, it's like we are doubting not only ourselves, but God.
Absolutely.
And I think that has become a big problem for not just women, but for all believers in Christ.
Absolutely.
And when that happens, we start, it's just like a trickle of things that start to happen, the fear, and then of course the doubt, and then it's like, you know what, forget it, I'm not going to do it. Then the procrastination and everything else gets attached to it. And then before you know it, a whole week done went past, a month, a year, and you still, years,
Right,
and you still haven't did what God has told you to do, or whatever's in your heart to do.
Right.
So what's your thoughts, Angie?
So I will tell you, this is a topic that's hard for me to come from a natural perspective, because I think from a natural perspective, fear is a good thing. If it's not debilitating, where it gets to like, the anxiety that stifles you from doing anything. Right. But fear is there for a reason. It causes us to investigate what's going on. Is it safe? Should I move forward? Do I stop? Do I need to protect myself from something? So fear can be a good thing, but it's when we allow it to take over. And that's when we get the anxiety. That's when we get the other reflections of the emotion.
Right.
And that's when things, I think, kind of can go awry depending on how severe it gets for some people. But in its totality, I think fear has a very big purpose in our lives. The fight or flight, like, do we move? Do we sit still? Do we fight for it? Right. It's a protective measure. So when does it become something that's no longer a protection for us is where we kind of lose it in mental health as well as in spirituality. It's hard for me to come from just a mental health perspective because I deal with that myself. Like the self-doubt, the doubt of how is this going to turn out, the fear of, and I had to stop and think about it. Is it a fear of not succeeding, or is it a fear of succeeding?
Right.
Is it going to get too big? Is it going to be more than I can handle if I actually step out and do it? I hear you telling me, or it's in my heart to do it, but is it going to be too much and then I can't handle it? But I think that's kind of where we battle with the doubt and the self-doubt, the doubt of not knowing and just maybe not being sure of ourselves. And also then you go back to the part of you saying trusting. And it was something that I heard this morning in a sermon that I was listening, and I don't know the verse, but it says, when you get in front of the judges or the synagogue, I will tell you what to say in that moment.
Right.
So my fear has always been, am I going to say the right thing?
Right.
Am I going to do the right thing? But if I'm trusting,
right,
and I'm believing, then in that moment, because you placed me there,
right,
you're going to tell me exactly what I need to do and say.
and how to,
So
how it transpires.
Is there any need to fear?
Right. And
and when that hit me this morning, I was like, oh.
That's good though.
I was like, I don't know that I've ever heard that verse before either.
Really?
I don't know. I don't
when you
recall.
Think about Moses and
Aaron.
And Aaron,
yeah,
right.
I'm slow of speech and slow
right,
of tongue.
right.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
And it never just registered. Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah. It's in there.
Well, maybe I don't have a reason, because if I trust you.
Right.
And if I'm relinquishing everything to you and I'm doing what you tell me to do, then you're not going to put me in a situation that you don't prepare me for.
Exactly.
And that, I think, has always been my fear. Like, can I really do this?
Can you do it?
Do I really know enough to do this? Like, everybody says, oh, you'll be great at it. But I don't feel that way, because I feel like I don't know enough, or I haven't practiced this enough, or I haven't done this enough to actually say, okay, I can do this.
Right. So one of my favorite writers, Marianne Williamson, and she one of the famous quote is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. So from a spiritual aspect, when I look at that, it makes me reflect on, and I have to do this. This is a daily thing that I have to tell myself, because there are times I'm going through some things right now where I allow that fear to become crippling. However, I have to check my identity. And my identity states in Genesis that he has given me power and dominion.
That's right.
So anything I need to do, if I operate in that function, then it'll get done, right? So we have to remember, as believers, when we have an identity issue, go back to the genesis of things, so that we can then have a clear and a better understanding on how we should proceed when it comes to our heart's desires, or the things that God is telling us. Because for myself right now, I have these projects that's on the board, and I'm just like, Lord, how is this going to take place? And yesterday, I allowed fear to literally creep in. When I tell you it creeped in, Angie, I just started weeping to God, and I was just like, wait a minute. I know what I heard. I know what you told me to do. I know you told me what to say. Why am I allowing this to happen? And so I figured it out. So today I was sitting on the edge of the bed drinking my coffee, and he said, the thing is, he said, why are you keep asking others?
Didn't I tell you that one time?
To validate you.
Yes.
Stop it. Stop asking people. Do it. And then this one guy on TikTok, oh my God, I love him so much. He is
I Am Jason, or the younger guy?
Not the younger guy. Okay, this is an older guy. I'm going to have to send it to you. But he said, before his grandmother passed away, she told him, she said, baby, there are many doors that are open for you. So all you have to do is push and walk through the door. Lord, I said, that was my confirmation. That was my confirmation. Okay, God, the doors are there for me, and they're open. I mean, they're there. I just have to do my part, which then applies faith, which is action, and walk through that door.
Yeah.
Walk through it.
Yeah.
With love and power.
But you have to walk in your power.
Yeah.
That's one thing I think that, I don't want to say we forget sometimes, but I think it's as we deal with society, and as we deal with things that come up for us, we fall into that human flesh side again.
Right.
And we sometimes not necessarily step out, but forget that we have power and dominion.
Right.
And that it's already set in place for us to have those things. So sometimes it's like, okay, I'm getting a little skittish, because I have some things in my mind and some on paper. But in starting things, it was like, okay, well, I'm going to ask this person to help me, and I'm going to ask this person to help me, and things never took off.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, God, what's going on? Oh, I never told you to ask those people. I never told you to connect with them.
Right.
So you also have to make sure that you're within his will and purpose for whatever is your gift or your
Right,
calling.
right.
Because you can't bring everybody with you.
You
and
can't.
Just because you think, oh, we work well together and, we do have some commonality and they like the same things, that doesn't mean that's where they are supposed to fit in your purpose.
Exactly.
So that also to me is very telling. And I was like, well, I don't know if I can do it by myself. Yeah. Like, I don't know what if all these people want me to do stuff? How am I supposed to do it? I work. I have to do all this other stuff. But God makes a way for what he intends for you to do.
Right.
And we have to trust and literally let go and do it scared or do it afraid. And that's like what I've been telling myself, you know what? You have to do it afraid.
Right.
And it's okay. Be afraid, but do it anyway.
But do it anyway. Yeah. So, I'm going right back to the scripture. It doesn't really say fear, but however, when Jesus was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane and he, was like, Lord, take this cup. Take this thing from me. I don't want to do it. But all in the same breath. So that tells me, even in all of that, there was some moments of doubt that he had. There was, I can't say fear, but it was something there.
It was definitely discomfort.
Right. That he just didn't, he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But then he turned around and said what?
But nevertheless, Lord, your will be done.
That's not his will, but let your will be done, God. And so I think that it's necessary to have those moments, like you said, of doubt and fear. It's necessary because how will we ever know that there is a God and that he is able to do abundantly above all we can ever think and ask for? Because how will we ever know?
He shows himself in those moments.
Yes.
He comes in and he says, you know what? I have ordained you. I have set you apart to do this. And when we feel that doubt or step back or have that little bit of anxiety, he comes in. It's like, you know what? Where you felt like you were weak, honey, I got this. Just do what I told you to do and move, because there are people waiting on you.
Yes. And it's that Romans 12:1-2, renewing your mind. And I was constantly just sitting right here, and it says, Williamson once again heard these quotes. She said, you must learn a new way to think before you can master a new way to be.
Yes.
So in all of that, with the fear and everything else attached to it, you have to learn a new way to think.
Right.
You got to change that mindset.
Absolutely.
And I'm saying it, but I'm preaching to myself as well, because if I wasn't human, then you know what I'm saying? We all go through some stuff. Even though I'm a teacher or a preacher, it don't mean that I don't go through. Right. We go through the most. However, I have to apply that to my life daily, man.
Absolutely.
And through prayer and studying of my word and talking to God and crying to God and in those moments of meditation where I just silence everything and I listen for his voice.
And I think that's what we don't do as well.
We don't listen for him. We don't meditate, because when we hear the word meditation, immediately we start thinking of another thinking
like
of religion or all that foolishness. No, you need to quiet your mind. And even in mental health, we learn that. You know what I'm saying?
The mindfulness,
be
in touch with, okay, what do I feel? What do I see? You need to ground yourself, so that you can then be aware of what's going on around you and aware of your feelings and how things are affecting your body.
Right.
We find out so much now with like different professors and people who specialize in trauma treatment and other things like that, how much your body holds.
Girl,
how much you feel the tension, the trauma that your body holds, how it affects your health, so you need to be in tune with everything. Do you feel it in your shoulders? Do you feel it in your chest? You can feel these things and you need to address them.
Right.
Because they do cause issues later on.
Man.
You can't carry that stuff.
You can't.
So if you're not being mindful or meditating or both, where do you let it go?
Where do you let it go? So having that outlet, and here's another good quote. I'm just reading some of her quotes. Love is what we were born with, right? It says fear is what we learned here.
Yeah. Because somebody told you at some point you weren't good enough.
Right.
Somebody told you at some point this is not going to make it.
Exactly.
You can't do this.
Right.
So you now are teaching yourself again in those moments that's not the truth. That's a lie. So I'm telling myself I can do all things through Christ.
That's what they say, right? I can do all things. Not some.
Right.
All. Right.
All things. So, you've not given me a spirit of fear. Be anxious for nothing. So it's like, that's what you need to study and know, because that's how you refute things that are going on. You quote
those scriptures. He said, prove him.
Right.
Prove him.
You told me in your word.
In your word, God. Yeah.
And you quote whatever is necessary for that time. And that's how you then solidify where you are, because there's nobody, human father, human mother, that is in any way that can tell you something against what God has already said in his word for you.
Yes.
No, nobody can take that from you.
Right.
I'm made in his image.
Right. And his likeness, honey.
Okay.
And point blank,
and
period.
He makes no mistakes. And I heard somebody else say, he will never mismanage your life.
Never, ever, ever.
And I was like, that is so powerful.
It probably was Dr. Miles.
It was a female.
It was a female?
Yeah, I don't know what she said. She heard her pastor say it. Was some clip I was listening to. And I was like,
that's a good quote.
So even if I make decisions, he said, I'll be with you if you make your bed in hell.
Good God Almighty. What kind of father is that?
Okay. I will be with you. We have to decide on things daily.
Yes.
If I make the wrong decision, that doesn't mean he leaves me. He's there to help me work through it.
Right.
Better thing is to ask him before you make the decision, but he's still not going to leave you.
Exactly. I think we have to get that, but that for some people they really have to, number one, like you say, have a made up mind, and to understand that when you do have a made up mind, other things follow behind that. You know what I'm saying? That's that prayer time, that study time, all of those things. It kind of it goes together, right. And I look at some people, and when they be like, yeah, I have a relationship with God. Oh, for real? Do you?
Right.
What time do you pray? What time do you study your word?
Yeah.
What did you study today?
And that should be a dedicated time.
Yeah, you should have a dedicated time to God. Even when you can't pay your tithes and offerings. And some preachers may come against me when you say this, but I think that there should be a certain amount of time that you actually pray, or if you can't give financially or whatever the situation may be. So give your time to God. Give it to the community.
And
do those
I've always
things.
Thought that. I was like, Lord, I don't have the money, but I do have this extra time. So I'm going to spend this time with this group or that group, or so-and-so needs something. So I have it.
Right.
I'm going to give it to them. It may not be monetary, but they need this, and I can give this to them, or I can help them do something. I don't feel that it always has to be monetary.
Right.
I think we give of what we have. And if I don't have it monetarily, then giving it of something else is still is gratifying to God.
Exactly. He said, anything you do to the least of thee, you're doing it unto me.
So if I'm giving you my time, then I'm also showing God that I'm grateful for what you've given me. You've given me this extra time to give to somebody else.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with finances. You've given me this extra money to give to somebody else. It's never for your own gain.
Right.
It's never for your own gain. So I think that when we understand that, also that fear, like, am I going to have enough?
Right.
Give something away and see what happens. It's an amazing principle.
It is.
It happens quick.
And to apply it, if you can apply that every time, it is amazing. And it feels good, because you're just like, what?
Like,
for real? I just blessed her, and then somebody just said, hey, here. And I'm just like, man, ain't nobody like God.
Right.
God, you know my heart. You know what I need, God. So, and it's hard. It's sometimes it's hard, but I think the more you walk with God and reveal to Him who you are, and which He already know who we are, but He want us to tell Him. He want us to sit down and have a conversation with Him. That's one thing about God, and I believe so strongly in the power of prayer, because it was embedded in me. Through my grandmother at a very young age, in which, at the end, I didn't know what was going on. But with that power of prayer that's on the inside of me, that really helps me a lot when it comes to fear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because even though at the moment I may feel a certain way, it's like something in my gut. And the word says that He will remind you. The Holy Spirit will remind you. You know what I'm saying? Of what you studied and what you learned. And it'll always come to your thoughts. And He always bringing things to my thoughts to help me to, woosah, okay. All right, I was feeling that way. Okay, God, thank you for your word. Thank you for the reminder that I can do all things through Christ. So my encouragement to you is to just, take it one day at a time, and write the vision and make it plain, like Habakkuk 2:3 says, write it down and make it plain so that, in the time when it's time to be revealed, not only just to you, but to the world, then, God can say, people can say, man, that's what she's been doing. She's been working on that. You know what I'm saying? He's been working on that. And it becomes a beautiful thing, but through it all, God get all the glory and all the honor from it. So don't fear. Fear, but don't allow it to overtake you. Right. That's all we saying. Right. Don't allow it to overtake you and make you feel, because sometimes fear can become,
it's crippling.
Girl.
And it stalls so much. It's like we just get stuck, and it's like, okay, well, that's way too much. I'm not sure if I want to invest that much, because it may not become anything, or if I want to tell these people, because then what'll happen? Like if I invite them to come and then it just flops, or oh my gosh, that's just way too much. I don't know. I'm not that person, which is typically me. I don't like to be out in the front. I don't. But at the same time, through this process, very different for me, I'm in the front. Right. And it doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would, honestly. But sometimes you have to just step out and say, you know what, it's uncomfortable. But I think we find so much growth in discomfort. Once you get on the other side of that discomfort and on the other side of that fear, like, oh, I didn't think I could do that. Oh, I'm doing it. Right. I think it's so gratifying to see, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought. So now what do I want to try? Like, let me do something else. And it's like so much growth, I think, that we miss when we just sit there. And it's like, that's too much.
Listen.
That's too, I can't, I don't like public speaking. Ooh, I don't like.
Girl, listen, when I was younger, when I was in school, I used to, when the teacher called on me, I started seeing these little spots in the air. My hands be soaking wet. Like my stomach started to hurt. And now for me to preach and teach and get on the, I just be like, that gotta be a God. That gotta be that Holy Ghost on the inside of me. Because honey, woo, when I stand before people, I'd be like, Lord, you better help me, because
but that's what you do.
Yeah. You gotta
that's
pray.
What you do. It's like, okay, I'm giving this to you, so you go ahead and speak. I'm just gonna kind of hang back. You can use my mouth and my body, but I need you to do this, because I want them to hear what you say, not what I'm thinking. Yeah. So I think sometimes just stepping back and allowing God to move takes away some of that situation. But I still get the nerves. I still start to shake a little bit. I don't know if people can see me, but I still feel the flutters.
Yeah,
like, I want to get this over with.
Well, I want to get this over with.
But I don't ever want to be where I'm not like that, because I don't want it to feel like I'm working in my own power.
Right. And people do that. Yeah.
I don't ever want to feel like this is me. Especially in certain settings. Like I don't ever want to feel like I'm taking over, or like my knowledge is taking over, because it's never enough.
Yeah, we have to be careful, because we think that, we got God's people. You know what I'm saying? No, the churches belong to God. The people that them God folk. Right. We just there to kind of push them through, but no, Now here you go in John 14:27. I love this. He said, peace. And this is just a confirmation of it's okay to fear, but I got you. He said, peace. This is Jesus talking. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. So that right there is that confirmation, like, oh, my daddy loves me so much. He leaves his peace with me, and he tells me, don't let your heart be troubled. Don't be scared. I got you. So that's a beautiful confirmation.
When you said that, I just got the image of God on the cross.
Yes.
And if you, with everything that they did to you, and the explanation that I saw about how the Passion of the Christ, the movie, does not even do a good depiction. Like his back was split open, his bones were showing. Like the damage that they had done to his earthly body was excruciatingly painful for him. He managed to carry the cross, and he stood there on that cross at peace.
Yes, girl.
If you have that kind of peace that you're giving to me, what am I worried about?
I know.
Because if you can sit up there in that much pain, your body is basically dismembered. You manage to carry a cross.
Yes.
Of how many ever, the way that they describe it from the time is extremely heavy. your body is bleeding and open. And it's rubbing against your bones, basically, and muscles that are exposed.
Right.
And you just stand up there and you die for me.
Yes.
In peace.
In peace.
Like you weren't screaming, you weren't yelling, you weren't acting a fool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how we are when we're in pain.
Right.
You weren't doing anything. You peacefully sat there.
And just died. Took it. Yeah. It's mind-boggling. Like, he loves us that much. We are his orderly arrangements.
That much. And you leave that kind of peace with me?
Yes.
That kind of peace.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm going to stand there with my bones exposed.
Right.
Because I'm probably going to pass out.
Right.
No, I'm going to pass out. Like, that's just
exactly.
First bone I see, I'm done. And I'm probably going to fall out carrying the cross.
Right. Yeah.
But you did all of that. And you're going to tell me, yeah, my peace.
Yeah.
The peace that I stood on that cross for, to die for you.
Yes.
So that you could have it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm giving to you.
Right. And if we could just hold on to that peace.
Yes.
That part of him. You know what I'm saying? Even in the doubts and in the moments of fear, we'll be okay. And another thing that kind of stifles us too is procrastination.
Oh, absolutely.
I did a prayer this morning about the procrastination that we but that procrastination comes with fear.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? It's
move.
like right there. We're
together.
afraid to move when God is telling us to move. So, don't allow that procrastination to cause you to feel that you're not worthy enough, you're not good enough, that you're gonna fail. Even if you fail, you get back up and you do it again.
Yeah.
Because evidently if it fails, it was something that he wanted you to get.
Right.
It's something that you needed to learn. And then once you learn it, then you apply it to the thing again, and you get up and you do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to constantly do that. Even with Metamorphosis, the launching of Metamorphosis in March 15th. Woo, woo, woo. When God first gave me that vision back in 2017, he gave it to me. I wrote it out and I done it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I did not think twice about it. I did not care who came. I did not care any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I applied it to my life and I got busy on it. He gave me mission statement. Boom, boom, boom. Everything was going in order. I didn't even ask anybody to really their opinion about it. I just done it. And so now I get here to my home state and I'm just like, oh no, I don't know how to.
Isn't it different when you where people know you?
Right. So
it's different.
So
it's different.
Lord,
it's like,
wait a minute.
People know me. What if it don't look
right?
What
if it don't?
What if it don't? Yeah.
So that's what I've been dealing with, and but like I said this morning when he gave me that confirmation, it was just like, Drina, girl, chill out.
Yeah.
Just do your thing.
I got
boo.
this. I got this.
Yeah.
Do what I told you to do,
and
it's gonna work out.
And so my goal, my heart desire is not just to leave legacy for my children and my grandchildren, but it's to leave legacy for my friends and her children, and leaving legacy to women to know that no matter what you done been through and what life has stabbed you in your heart and people done took from you, that you can get back up and you can begin again. God, he will allow you to do that. And so that's my heart, is to be able to minister to the people, the trials and the tribulations, the things that I've been through, so that you'll know that, hey, if she can do it, I can do it. And I believe that that's why my testimony is so strong. It's nothing that I haven't experienced. I'm able to sit and talk to somebody that's been molested. I'm able to talk to somebody that's been raped. I'm able to talk to these different people. I seen right after my mom got raped. I'm able to talk to people about divorce and being a single mother and being homeless and all these things, being on the top and then dropping down to the bottom. I mean, I'm able. And that's my heart, is that people will see and to understand that don't judge people when you see them, because you don't know their story. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know their struggles, so try to look at people the way God looks at them, and he looks at us through our heart. So that's my thing. Look at people heart. Don't look at that and just have a conversation with them if you want to know anything. And that's where I stand with that. But anyway, don't fear, don't procrastinate. Get out there and do what God tell you to do. I'm a crybaby, so Angie, I'll let you take the floor for, and we got a couple minutes.
So my thing is, in the procrastination and the fear, don't miss your blessing. Because sometimes I think a lot of things that we're supposed to do and we get fearful or anxious and procrastinate about, they were supposed to happen at a certain time.
Yeah.
And we miss our timing.
Yeah.
And not that it won't ever come back, but you delayed something.
Yeah.
Not only for you, but for somebody who's connected to you. And I look at myself and my children, like I don't want to miss anything for them because I want to be the person who continues to propel them forward. And they are in a time frame as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There are things that are happening in our nation, in our society, that I can't miss my time because I have to be there for them. And what we're leaving to them as a society is scary.
Yeah.
So I need to know that I'm prayed up, I'm moving the way that I'm supposed to be moving, so they can watch me and see that this is how we're going to move. Because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't want to be there. We talked about this before when we were talking about timing. The guy, and it was funny, I didn't realize the parable was the fool, the calling the guy a fool.
Right.
When he stored up all the stuff and so was thinking, I'm going to have, all this, and I'm just going to lay back and just settle because I got all this extra crops and I'm just going to store it up, build me bigger barns.
Right.
You're going to die tonight, dude.
Right.
Not going to do you any good.
Right.
I want them to know that everything you get is not for you. And to build a kingdom for God, because that's the only way we're going to make it.
That's it.
Is that you have to be generous and give. And I want them to see that in me.
Right.
I want them to see the solidified power of God in me. So they know that, look, this is how we make it. No matter what's going on around me, this is how we make it. And I can't do anything but do it afraid.
Right.
Because things don't look solid when you move it.
Baby.
They do not. My prayer today was, as I look at moving into different things, Lord, I need you to show up today. I need you to show me yes or no today. I need provision. I need everything set out. I do not want to be a burden on anyone. And if this is not what you have and cannot provide all that, tell me no.
Yeah.
I need to be able to move and know that what I'm doing is within your will.
Yes.
Because if it's not, I'm not trying to set myself back no more. Not that things won't happen,
right?
But it may delay some things. And
exactly.
I don't have time for that.
Ain't nobody,
I don't know who's gonna be here tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna be here tomorrow.
Girl, what you say?
So you, and that's kind of where I look at things when it comes to fear and procrastination. Now, it's kind of been my twist for the last 2 weeks. Is I don't know if I'm gonna be here tomorrow.
Right.
So what if I'm not doing something that somebody else may need? Even if I start it and somebody else can finish it.
Right.
I need to lay the foundation so that when someone else picks it up, because it's needed, obviously it's needed if you told me to do it.
Yes.
That it's there for somebody else to pick up and carry on. So I have to do my part.
Yes.
And I'm not going to be guilty when I go up to Judgment Day and say, Lord, I figured, it was just too much for me. I was a little too afraid to do it. But did I not tell you that I would give you what you needed to do?
Baby.
Did I not tell you?
Didn't I?
Did I not tell you? And, it's like, hey, okay, so I'm going to do it afraid.
Man.
I'm going to do it scared.
Yeah.
And we're just going to keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Until it's done.
As long as I'm in your will, we're going to get it done.
Exactly. And that's what we will leave you with. So, just continue to build on your relationship with God. Absolutely. And just, trust God.
Yeah.
In everything you do, just trust God. I mean, there's no other way really to say it.
As you trust him, you'll learn to trust you.
Exactly.
You'll learn to trust your abilities and the things that he's already put in you.
Yeah.
So she's absolutely right. That's how you solidify and leave the anxiety and fear behind.
Woo,
trust him.
Trust him.
And you'll learn that he's given you everything you need already.
Everything. So hope this has inspired someone to push yourself to get out there and make those dreams happen. And God will provide the provision.
Absolutely.
So fear not, for he is with you. All right. God bless you. Love you. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.
Next time.
Peace. Oh, God. It won't stop.